All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Chihayafuru, Season 2, Episode 5. All right, let's see if we can get the Tokyo Regionals, because just one more match. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are the reigning champs. You know, they're coming in hot. They're coming in with a lot of swagger right now.
Mizusawa is quite strong. They have the aura. And Hokuo does not have their Class A players from the previous year because they were all the third years. So even if they do have an accurate prediction and all that stuff, well, we beat them before, so what are they packing this time?
Yeah, and now at this point, really? They've just got the spunk coming in where they're not going to be maybe as cocky as they were before.
Right.
But also, we've got 2 new players. And while that's not necessarily meaning that they're going to even play...
Probably not.
Probably not.
Almost definitely not.
Yeah, almost definitely not. Not in the finals. They are actually, going to be helpful. They are actually going to be, observing and taking data upon which they might know, hey, by the way, the actual player to be, it might be so-and-so, or it might be this person.
And good job, Sumira. You already got that data, showing that you're a contributing team member. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Every individual match is a team match, and every team match is an individual match, which, hey, that extends beyond the matches too. So every member of the team is useful.
That's right.
Yeah, someone's got to be on the sideline, smacking everybody on the ass, being like, yeah, good job.
Right.
Get back out there,
Or, telling all the ladies, hey, don't you think that, Taichi's looking kind of sweaty? Maybe we should all throw him some towels,
Ooh, that's true. But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Wait, no, this is...
Wait. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, he's still in. Never mind. We do have something to worry about. Never failed us before. Except you're thinking of Taichi as a Class B player.
But that
no
means
pressure.
This could also be another Taichi-focused episode, because he could be the tiebreaker. Unless this is his focused episode.
I would be pleasantly surprised. It's we got beaten before, but maybe that was just a fluke. Yeah, we'll beat them this time. Then they get crushed again.
Oh! What? Who is this? Is this Mom?
Oh, shoot. Oh, awesome.
That's what they said earlier, was that they don't need to try either because the top 2 are going to nationals, yeah.
Right, because Tokyo sends 2 teams.
Yeah, Or is this his girlfriend? Oh. Wait!
Oh my god! Ah! No!
Dating the enemy!
You could do this to Kaido.
Yes, data.
Damn.
Dang.
Because they're assuming they'll
they
be
don't
able to get
care.
the right setup.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's... I cannot with you.
Dude.
Yeah.
Ah, see, you
That's
did it there.
good.
Yeah.
太一の強いとこはお母さんが作ったんだね。
3年の甘粕なゆたが A 級で首相、1年の白山も A 級、あとは全員 B 級。やっぱこうしっかり教えてくれると、うちの子も理系で体育会系だからな。去年の悔しさをバネに練習した成果を実は秘密兵器を。去年の範囲はオーダーが読めたのに。
ああ。
綾瀬西田の試合を落としても3勝確実、省エネで楽に決めて先生のおごりで焼肉だ。
Oh, that's the wrong prediction. The little guy's gonna be facing Chihaya then.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
Going down.
Glasses on glasses. Yes! Yes! Oh, this is perfect! No, they guessed wrong. That's... This is so silly. Oh, he did know! Oh! He did know!
Oh shit! We have people trying to do sabotage on both sides.
Oh! Yeah, he's so cool! Yeah, exactly! Let's go!
What, you saying you're gonna lose to Chihaya?
Ah, and he's here to watch. Let's go. A wizard is never late.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh my god!
What? That... There's...
Bro is a reader too?
Holy shit. But that's such an advantage to them because they would have probably practiced with him as a reader so many times.
Damn.
He's gonna glare at them so hard if they, like, miss cards.
Whoa. What I love here also is that the coach kind of knew and was like, no, you can get better reps out of this. We're going to nationals. We're thinking ahead here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah. What's she giving them?
Oh, headbands!
Headbands!
Oh,
Wait.
oh, no. Oh, okay.
That's clever.
I love it.
But we're so glad you're our coach. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You know why? Because I have a girlfriend.
You
I
can't
have something
say that.
you don't.
Yeah. He just looks at him and he's like, virgin.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said. Yeah.
Peanut's face.
Yeah, you're the power ceiling now. People are gonna be relying on you. Yeah. Yeah, he's been practicing. Still? I was supposed to be done between matches.
Amazing.
あと3ミリ。
Damn. But that was on his side, too.
ここ。
なめてんの？試合中に取られた札の反省って練習試合？
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. That's good. Short-term memory. Just forget about it. Move on.
Don't mind, don't mind.
変な感じ。変に遅くて逆に取れねえ。その変に突っ込みたい。
Hey, good job.
Wow.
Nice.
She knows exactly when the reading should go. She's very proud of Pseudo, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, he's reading well.
溶けてるみたい。
She's like, good. A voice, you know, worthy of this poetry.
Yes.
Yeah.
部活でやらせてたのかい？練習で札読みなんかしなさそうなタイプだけど。
中等部まではそうだったんですけど。
先生、
Whoa.
読書の講習会行ってみる。
After watching a match with the
相
master.
手の研究より読書の方を研究している気がする。
Oh.
須藤
Ah.
Uh-huh.
あの木ぐらいの高さ。
Dang.
Okay.
もっと早いかと思ったのに、そうでもないな。もう7枚さ。
7!
でもなんだろう。この神経質なくらいの確認。あ、見てるのは若宮忍か？俺だって去年24枚差で負けたけど、あんただって20枚差負けだったじゃん。やってろよ。
Yeah. You can think about other matches, but this one's mine.
須藤さんの読む試合ならホームだ。
ひょろ。
なんでお
Okay.
前そんな変な取り方ばっかり。痛めてテーピングばっかりの指で横から意地でもついてきて。
Not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
あ、やべえ。ポインちゃん強えぞ。
She's the only one actually doing well.
Yeah.
着物の方が疲れない。
Oh.
ポインちゃんに負けたら怒られる。
母音が動くには
Ah.
Yeah.
Is she talking about the sashes or the boobs?
Yes. Both.
男女の別なく、体格の別なく。
It's just
So
your ability
true.
to listen and move.
Whoa. Get transported into that world. Yeah.
1000年前とつながる。そんな競技。
ありがとうございました。
北欧一勝。
Damn.
肉まんくんが束で負けた。
13!
Whoa.
負けた方は残りの選手への負担が1だからたとえ負けるにしても最後まで試合を終わらせないことが重要なのに5連戦って久しぶりで頭がゲロゲロであのくるぐるが気になって視界に入ってくる姉ちゃんが気になって
Yeah.
Yeah.
他はどうだ。
That's rough.
大江さんと駒野は接戦。千早は
So Kana wins a
千
match.
早が5枚差で負けてる。
Your match. Your match. Your
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, just think about your match. She's locked in her own way. She's doing her thing.
今口に出す言葉は大丈夫かじゃない。
Right.
水沢一生だ。
若宮忍になろうとするより周防久志になろうとする方がお前は近い。
正確に1点を払うあの指先。音のないカルタ、甘粕さんに勝てない。忍ちゃんみたいに強くなるのは難しいな。
綾瀬にも20枚あるみたい。一時決まりが。
That's your speed. That's your speed.
千早ちゃん、君は2つの強さを手に入れようとしているのか。
Oh, cool.
She's greedy that way.
Yeah. The listening and the speed and the precision. I mean, the speed is the listening and the listening is the speed and all
Right,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, wow.
Well, yeah, when people talk about speed here, they're not talking about how fast the person's going. They're talking about the
At
smallest
what point
amount
they
of
start
time
moving. Yeah.
to get the card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she could still lose, though.
Yeah. She could.
So yeah, it would have to be Taichi, Chihaya,
Kana.
and Oe. Yeah, Kana. Yeah. That could be how they win. But yeah, it'll probably then come down to a Tai Chi and Chihaya.
That would be fitting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like
or it's like, okay, we both have to do this.
All right. Okay, the match is on.
The game is afoot.
Yeah, Pseudo being the reader is a fun twist for this.
I like
that it is a natural advantage for Hokuo to then be able to recognize his voice and have a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, him doing things like, oh, they're clearly like off their game. You know, and then go back into it, right?
Right. It's the terrifying leader buff that he's giving them passively just by eyeing them from the back. And because they don't have to stare at him in the, I would say eyes, but forehead.
Exactly.
You know, they're not also feeling that intimidated by him. Whereas because he's also someone that they've talked with for probably hundreds, if not maybe a lot longer, like thousands of hours of just all the practice time over the course of school. They're going to be able to recognize, oh, this is how he would say that card.
Right.
Cool. But he is doing such a good job professionally doing it, to the point that Kana is now handily winning her match.
Right.
Which in some ways makes this all amazing, because then Pseudo is not actually giving any advantage to Hokuo as a team.
Because in a lot of ways, well, he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna stab you guys if you throw this match and all that stuff, right? He's thinking about developing his own abilities, right? Because he wants to beat the master, right? And so it's the master studies readers more than he studies actual like cards and things like that. All right, cool. That's what I'll do too. And so I'm gonna become a really damn good reader. That way I can really know what the process is for that reader as they're reading those cards, so that then I can get that sense of, oh, they're breathing this way? Yeah, I think I know what's coming next, you know?
Right. It's really fun to think about it from the standpoint of eventually you'd run out of things to memorize with Karuta.
Right.
Karuta only has so much actually to memorize.
100 poems, there you go.
And if you have the capacity to memorize all of them, and theoretically memorize them, you know, factorial by like positions on the field and such.
Right. And all the different syllables and, you know, relations of numbers of syllables to each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like every single board position, like theoretically. Like it does get to the point where like, okay, the human brain is not necessarily going to gain anything from memorizing that much. But the amount of power you get by just hearing things a little bit before others.
Right. Because it's just that thing of
everything.
And this is where, and this might feel like splitting hairs, but it's not about how fast your arm is moving, right? When you're talking about speed, it's about how soon they're able to begin moving, right? Because, like, you know, speed is you know, the measurement of motion, right? And so motion is, yes, it's, you know, the amount of time that you go a distance, but it's also the amount of distance that you go, right? And if you're taking, you know, this much time for this much distance, right? But, you know, you're able to do it in a more direct way. You don't necessarily have to be, like, faster in a velocity sense, right? You can just be like, okay, I start sooner, and therefore, you're not going to catch up, right? The amount that you would have to be faster than me with your arm movement is just not enough to make up.
It's not physically possible.
Yeah, like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, when you think about things moving in, you know, decimal points of a second, you know, very, very, like, small fractions here, the human brain doesn't even react fast enough for most of that kind of time there. Because I want to say just the ability to send a signal from your head to your body to move is like, you can't exceed like 1/8 of a second. I think there's still that kind of delay there. So like, even if you hear something like correctly, but if the other person is hearing it like 1/8 of a second before you, it just doesn't matter.
Right. It's kind of over before it begins. And that's one of the things where I like having Kana be someone who's doing really well here as a way to showcase the ways in which you can get better at something. Because effectively what this feels like is, you know, if there's that like 1/8 of a second or something like that, but then also, you know, maybe by training your body, and that's the whole idea of having something be like rote, like muscle memory, is then it's just, you're not needing to think about what your body needs to do, right? Your body just does the thing, you know. You're not thinking about the command you're sending, you're just sending the command, hitting the pressing speed dial, you know. And
muscle memory can do a lot, but it still doesn't really allow you to break through that barrier. Like it's just like a physical thing at that point where even if you're moving, you still are telling your body where to move it. Right. Because you have to know which card you're going for. So an example could happen where Amakusa, I believe is his name, ended up moving towards a card that was the wrong one, but then swept back to end up taking the right card. So he was moving towards one that had the initial first syllable, and then as the second syllable came in, he's like, oh, nope, that's the wrong one.
Right, and that's probably where a lot of like board strategy comes into play with okay, how do you set up the cards, right? Like this one is a one syllable that I can go for quickly, but here's a second syllable, two syllable card that I can position near it so that way if it then gets read after that, I can shift and, still get it. Right. Try and cheese out effectively a one syllable read.
Yeah, and having them be basically on something that's, closer to you so it's easier for you to get.
Right.
I do like that while the show does kind of have to just quickly go through the matches without explaining why they're losing, the show really does, when somebody is losing by like 13 cards like Nishida, he's distracted.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing where they have to do this so dramatically, almost because in a lot of ways we're not going to just buy immediately. Wait, he lost by 13 cards for just because a reason?
Yeah, he had an off day, which is totally normal.
But he's a Class A player,
right?
And his sister being there distracts him, and the hairpins distract him. I think this is just another reminder for me as well that this is such a niche sport that being a Class A player also isn't even that really impressive from a professional sports standpoint.
Right.
Because they're not actually being that professional. They're getting distracted by a hairpin or getting distracted by their sister dating somebody on the other thing there. They're still kids doing a sport at a high level, but it means then that someone of them can lose by 50% of the cards, or no, twice as many cards being taken, because your sister walked into the room and is cheering on another guy. It's like
I would love to know the percentage breakdown of how many people that of the people that play Karata or have a rank in Karata, who's where.
Yeah.
Because if Class A is I don't know, top 5%, right? Or even top 2%, that's still when you actually that sounds like top 2% might sound like a crazy number, but when you actually think about how many people there are in the world and all that stuff,
or just
it actually gets a lot less crazy when you think about it,
Oh, it gets a lot less crazy. A better way to say it is just throw an arbitrary number out there, 1,000.
Sure.
If there's 4% of the players that are in Class A, that's 40 players.
Right.
40 players is way less than there actually is in Class A. We know that for a fact because of the way that they've shown some of the tournaments for Class A and stuff. There's definitely at least 50 Class A players. But again, that being said, this is a sport that goes across all ages, that goes across all skill levels and everything like that. So you can be a Class A player and be not really good at your mental game. You can be a Class A player and be, Nishida, or you can be Harada Sensei. There's a big gap within Class A of good Class A players that are they're contenders for top players in the entire sport, to Class A players that are oh yeah, they've still got a lot of room to grow, but they're also constantly growing. You know?
The if you become the best Karata player in Japan, then you're the best in the world thing. That is a cool thing for motivation, but it's also a testament to how there could theoretically be a lot of other people in the world that could get better at you, than you at Karata, but just there's a whole bunch of people that don't play Karata, right?
Yeah, I hate that I somehow always find a way to bring this into Ultimate Frisbee here. It's hilarious. But I literally was playing against national level players just the other weekend.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. But what it was it was also a wake up call. I was like, oh, right, this is a very small sport.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Representatives for our state that have gone and taken nationals multiple times in a row. I was playing with a team that was scuffed beyond all belief in terms of I would say pro play. We just had a bunch of raw talent that was basically it. When we played against the national team for the state of Washington, meaning like they are like the team that's taken nationals many years in a row, we took the half. Like, we were winning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And then the second half, they stepped up, basically, and we're like, oh, we have to take this seriously.
Right.
And they beat us handily.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that the first half was us basically surprising them with just raw talent, athleticism, and everything like that.
Sure.
But yeah, when it comes down to us competing in what was like the equivalent of Class A, we would be like Nishida, where we would still lose in the end by 50%, despite having taken then 12 cards.
Right. Yeah. And so, right, from the one side of things, it's like, no, fantastic. The gap between you is a, it's a 1/3 to 2/3 gap.
Right. There were 12 times where you were better than them.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But there were 25 times where they were better than you.
Yeah. It's not the time of, oh, there was one time when you were better than them versus 24 times or 25 times that they were better than you.
Right, and that was the other thing I wanted to bring up is basically the Shinobu and Master conversation there with Chihaya trying to take what she's learned from watching the two of them or playing one of them and incorporating them into her strategy. But by doing that, she's not actually paying attention to this match.
Right.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, that is an ego thing to not pay attention to the current match and thinking about future matches.
Sure.
But also, it's not necessarily that if one, it doesn't really matter who wins here.
You already go to nationals.
You're already going to nationals. Two, this is kind of like a great example of, if you're going to be playing against those players at some point, you should get time practicing against people that are better than you or equal to your skill when doing this. And Chihaya doesn't get the opportunity to do that, really.
Nope. Not very
like,
often.
You might get to. Amakusa.
Yeah.
He definitely gets, I might be saying his name wrong, but he definitely gets the chance to do that at times, or he has when Sudo was on the team. And stuff.
Right, and so, yeah, you have to take those opportunities where you can get them, and the idea that just because you're at the top of, a thing, that you kind of, that you don't need to keep pushing yourself, you know most of the stuff that you need to know, it's really not true, because like you were saying with the idea of like, when you're in a niche thing, there just aren't that many people for it. Sudo has the right mind of it.
Yeah, he does.
The current master changed the game. He evolved. He is currently the leading edge and evolving this sport as we know it.
Right.
So, yeah, he's at the top, but he's also making the top better, right? And if I want to get up there, then I should be doing the same thing.
I should be learning what he's learning.
Right. And so Chihaya trying to incorporate both sides, fire and ice and all of that. Yes. No, that's good. Because that's the part that can be encouraging if you find yourself in that niche hobby or whatever, right? Is most people aren't into it. But that means if you can help grow the hobby or the sport or the whatever, right, then there can be more people into it. And then that is going to be better for everyone that's involved in it,
Everyone that's in it benefits. And even also from the competitive standpoint, that means maybe in this case, Chihaya's maybe got less than 100 players that are between her and the master, like the GOAT, the
big cheese,
the big man himself. That's also really like, whoa,
sobering.
like that's well, it's sobering, but I'd say it's also encouraging to be like, wait, I'm good at this. Like it's the kind of thing that Taichi needs to tell himself every once in a while.
Right, because that might give you that little bit of extra juice so that you can basically keep applying yourself,
keep pushing.
Right, like the whole thing of, the people that, are the most prideful off-times put in the most effort because they're expecting the most. And so it's the,
True.
And they believe that they actually will get the results. Like, this might feel like a weird comparison, but with like nutrition, right? One of the biggest problems that people have with nutrition is not actually that they don't know the things that they need to do in order to get the nutritional results that they want. It's that they don't have the confidence that it will give them the results that they want. And as a result of that, they don't actually stick to the things that they know are good for them, right? Because it's this sucks. Why do I do this if I don't know I'll get the...
You do it nonstop for like a week or 3 or something.
Yeah.
And you'll see like nothing change.
Right.
Like,
and so
nothing.
then you sort of
you stop.
or you give up just enough so that way you're not actually putting in the high level
Right,
of inputs.
so now there's
and
no
so you don't
scientific...
get high levels of outputs.
Well, also there's no way to gauge this scientifically.
Right.
You've now changed the process. So
exactly.
There's no way to judge whether or not the thing was good or bad. All you know is that for that period of time before that, nothing changed.
And so, as a bit of encouragement, for us and, you guys, the viewers and all that stuff, to when you have that thing that you're passionate about, that you're into, to really stick with it for, a long period of time and be really consistent so that way you can actually see what the results are from that consistency, and then you can evaluate long term how you want to approach this, right?
Yeah, and log many different types of like status points, basically.
Sure.
Like log actually, like in Karuta sense, like log the average number of cards that you can remember at any given point that you've been like placed on the board without like looking, like shut your eyes and count. Log like on the rewatches or what have you, like how fast you were moving. Log like how many 2-syllable cards you guessed against your opponent, like properly or something like that. There's probably a lot of different things that you could measure to showcase that you're getting better at Karuta. To where if you were only measuring like 1 or 2 things, you might completely miss the fact that you were growing in all these other areas.
Right. And it's a cheesy line, but the whole idea of only compare against yourself, right? Because that's what you can control, and use whatever tools you can to help you be able to observe your past self in a concrete way.
Yeah.
Because it can be super disheartening to be putting a lot of effort into something and to feel like you're not getting better.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you'll just have that moment of clarity for a second where you're like, wait a minute, 6 months ago, I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now. The thing that I'm doing like badly enough to be frustrated about it, but I wouldn't even be able to have done it badly before,
Yeah. This was an interesting episode, having the prediction be something, though, that Retro specifically knew that was wrong.
Yeah.
And he went this direction for it anyway. I think it says a lot about his character here. I don't think he was doing this just because, like, he wants to look cool. But I think it was something where he needed his confidence to be built up a little bit because Taichi had been his rival, like, all along. And yes, if we put Taichi up against your star here, you guys probably would win. But I specifically need this win. Right. I specifically need to go and get, like, I need to go up, and even though this is low stakes because we're going to nationals no matter what, I need this for me to showcase that I'm growing as a Karuta player.
Well, and that's where I want to bring this up, because this is a rare instance, given that this is a sport, where the outcome of this match doesn't actually matter, right? They're already going to nationals, so they could come in second here and still clean nationals, right? And so what
Amakasu?
Retro? What Retro effectively did is he said, hey, I'm not going to be focusing on the outcome of this. I'm focusing on basically our team being able to be as good as it can possibly be. And in order for that to happen, you have to then play against people that will actually challenge you, right? And so while it's something that, the rest of his team got frustrated about, and that's something that maybe your team, now that you have lost your, sadistic, iron-fisted leader, you might need to, like, revisit of what your main guiding philosophy is going to be of, are we trying to be a good team or are we trying to win matches?
Right.
Because those are mostly going to be the same thing, but not always, right? And so, this decision here, it could end up being positive for your team in the long run, but, y'all want to be on the same page about that.
Yeah, you also need to be able to trust each other.
Exactly.
And this was something that I think he shouldn't have made the call for from, like, an objective sense. You don't basically sneak around behind your team's back and change the order of things. Because that's literally what we just yelled at Tsukuba for doing.
Yep.
Don't do that.
Just because it's poetic here, that doesn't make it better. What you do is then you say, okay, guys, but we could do this, or this match doesn't matter. Let's kick their asses.
And the thing I think that they showed that made this also a little bit better was that it does feel like at least they seem to be hinting that the coach specifically was okay with this. And then that makes it a little bit better in that regard. But then the coach still should have communicated. But hey, if it's the coach making the decision, also being cool with it, then it's then you got to just suck it up and do it.
Right.
One of the toughest things also in any kind of team dynamic is basically when you have to have someone look at your skills objectively and go, you go right here. And it sometimes is very humbling, but also very just important to just suck it up and go,
right,
you're right, I am bad at this, or oh, I am good at this, or oh, this is where I would be best used.
You're still practicing with the beginners for now.
Right, and there's so much value, I would say, in being a teammate where you accept your role specifically on the team and you go, ego is out of this.
Nope, no place here.
No place here at all.
Yep, we are an
yes,
organization.
Coach, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I will give my heart. I will give my body and everything to make sure that I do my part well.
We're a bunch of little rocket boosters to get the rocket of the team to go to space.
Yeah. And none of this is, taking us away from space. But space doesn't just mean being in Class A and performing at nationals.
Exactly.
Because you're Hokuo Academy. You should always be doing that.
Yeah.
If anything, the fact that you guys, might be starting to struggle with that means that you guys might need to, start taking these things a little bit more seriously.
Taichi could be in Class A right now. But no, he doesn't want to be in just Class A. He wants to be in Class A the way that his society does it, right? Which is, nope, you have to get first.
Right.
There you go.
That's it.
Yep.
So, all right, cool. And yeah, Taichi being a badass with the next time I speak,
it'll be declaring our first win. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm here for it. I
Me too.
think Taichi deserves a win at this point. I think it would be poignant and powerful for him to beat Retro by one card here.
Yes, I think that also will be important for Retro, right?
Yeah.
Because the gumption to make this decision, fantastic, but it's not rose-colored lenses of what will happen when you make that decision. No, you're going to get your ass beat by Taichi. You're going to work really hard, but he's going to beat you. And you'll have to take that on the chin, accept that, and now be like, okay, what am I going to do about this?
Now, your team might also win or lose. I think in some ways it's really cool that because the stakes are taken out of this match,
it can go either way.
I have no predictions as to who's going to win.
Yeah, because Chihaya could totally lose.
Chihaya could actually lose, yeah.
The reason for her losing here, I think, is a totally legitimate one, and I don't think it makes her less exciting as a Karata player.
Yeah.
I think it's actually more exciting in a way, because she's doing the same thing that Retro is doing.
Right.
She's prioritizing her development as a Karata player over the outcome of this match. And that's...
I love that.
Even when people think that they're doing that, oftentimes they're not, right?
Yeah, so even if she comes back by quite a lot, I think it would actually be cool if she lost by a couple cards. That's my prediction, is that I think she's going to lose by 3 or less cards. And I think it's going to be a thing where she starts to be able to incorporate things in the second half, but she gave up too much of a lead for it to matter.
Right. I think it's going to be, like you said, she's going to lose by just a few cards, but she's going to have effectively played better Karata than her opponent.
In the second half especially.
And her opponent is going to... she's going to win in the mental, ideological battle, where her opponent's going to be like, right,
I'm going to absorb what I can from this.
Yeah, that was a learning experience for me.
You grew right in the middle of this match.
Yeah, I might have beat you, but you were the one teaching me.
Right. It's kind of fun, but this is just a meta thing. But usually you want your protagonist's growth to be done in the active moment of their thing that they love doing.
Sure.
You usually don't want it to be off screen.
Yes.
So, in a lot of ways, that's why a lot of anime protagonist characters get better by
mid-fight or whatever.
And doing things like that. And obviously, human beings get better in the act of doing these things.
Oh, absolutely.
But realistically, the times you actually are getting better is in the boring routine parts that is happening off screen.
In the hundreds of hours they spend at the Shiranami Society or whatever their society's called.
Exactly.
The bear just being like, oh, here. Eat.
Right.
oh my god, this works so much better. You know, like,
exactly. Classic stuff like that. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You got an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.